No, of course we weren't firing anything like that there, but it was a book exercise. Um, so also, I got to slightly exposed to aviation and aviation ordnance, machine guns, bomb sights, and things like that. Bomb sights were in the infancy. This is 37 before WW2. And so, but the Norden bomb sight had been invented. It was top secret. So anyway, then from there, I was sent to the Langley. Now the Langley was the world's first aircraft carrier. It had been a Collier in World War II, and they changed the name, I think, from the Cyclops. Say again?
Was it? You mean World War One?
Oh, WW1. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right. It was a Collier, and most of the fleet was operating on coal in those days instead of fuel oil. Terrible job, you know. But anyway, in the early 20s, before I came along, the Navy decided we needed an aircraft carrier. So they put a flat top on it, and I've got pictures of it around here someplace, of them flying the first flight off the flight deck. And that was about, I think, in the early 20s when that happened. In the next few years, the world of the naval aircraft carrier became a popular concept in Washington, D.C. And then such ships as the Saratoga and the Lexington and the Ranger, they came into existence. They're the old grandfathers of the modern day carrier fleet. Yeah. So that was, I was sent to the gunnery ordnance gang, and we did have a few guns on the Langley. We had, I think we had one or two 5-inch guns, and then maybe a couple of 40 millimeters. And I don't think we had 20 millimeters in those days. I think it was later they came on. That was about it. And I was with the gunnery gang, and I slept in a hammock. Yeah, just like I've been taught to do it in Great Lakes. Sleep in a hammock. And
What was the food like?
pardon?
What was the food like?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, you know. I was used to very plain food. We'd get beans for breakfast. It was wonderful, you know. On Saturday morning or something. They said they would have beans for breakfast because it was easy to clean up the kitchen after doing something like that, and they could be ready for inspection by, say, at 10 o'clock or something like that. So that was the first thing we did. We went up here to Merle Island. We did a little work here on the ship, and the next thing I know, then we went down. We went to the East Coast, and we participated in the 38 and 39 war games, and the fleet was doing its thing down there, and they were on the Caribbean islands. And then we went up to, this is also when the World's Fair in New York, out in Flushing, New York. They had the Sphere and the Trion. They were the humongous big sphere and a tripod.
Or a pyramid-shaped thing.
Logo for the thing.
Take a minute, Merle. And did you go to the fair? And if you did, tell us all about it. Take a minute.
We did. One day they let us guys off the ship. First of all, we had to line up and march. We marched right down Fifth Avenue, down big time New York. I don't know what it looked like, but anyhow, we thought we were pretty smart, and they, I'm sure we made a reasonable presentation. And then the next thing I remember is we had a little bit of liberty, got a chance to go through Central Park and a couple of major events like that, but then out to the fair. And I remember, I think one of the biggest things that they had out there was one exhibit by General Motors, and it had some futuristic, I can't remember too much in detail, but futuristic stuff. And so that was that was an event. It was kind of just interesting as all. And the next thing we came back, and we came back through the canal again, and up to San Diego, and then the ship had orders to go to the Philippines. It was going to take up station out there. So we all together left. This was like in about September, I think. Excuse me.
Well, we're going to ask you, keep telling your story and take your time, but do tell us if you crossed the equator and went through any of these shellback ceremonies or golden dragon things. But yeah, this is all interesting here. So you go through the canal.
Yeah, well, not on that trip. We didn't cross the equator. Well, yeah, we would have crossed the equator. No, we didn't get the equator happens to be a little bit south of the canal. But later on during the war, of course, when we were moving around, there was quite a bit of going over the equator and then also the international date line. That was an event that, because we were operating in that part of the world.
Yes.
It was a kind of, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. So then sure, go ahead, Merle. So you guys are heading to the Philippines next?
Yeah, I want to tell you that en route, the ship was en route to the Philippines, and they got an all-nav saying, hey, BP-25 in Fort Allen, Honolulu, wants to have an aviation ordnance fund. So I put in for it, and I got off the ship. They transferred me off, and I went right over to Fort Allen in that hangar there, that barracks, and I marched down to hangar 38, and I was enrolled. I can't remember what the details exactly, and pretty soon I was like a flight crew. Marvelous. Here I was, a farm boy from South Dakota. I was getting paid to go up and fly around the PBY and look down over Mauna Loa. When Mauna Loa was erupting, I remember seeing that. Hey, that was a historic event too, you know.
Your eyes are still lighting up, Merle.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But anyway, that was interesting. But
Wow.
So
So you're a farm boy, and now you're in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's right. And I had, meanwhile, met some nice friends. A guy by the name of Robert Graham, and he was a native Honolulu boy. I think he was a pistol shooting. I was in a pistol shooting range. I had a 22 Woodsman, and I'd go down to the Honolulu Police pistol range and shoot. And then I would keep my pistol in my locker in the YMCA, which is not too far from where Robert, he was a junior officer in the National Guard, Hawaii National Guard. And he had quarters right smack downtown. There was an old fort in the middle of, and he had quarters in there. So it just so happened that when Pearl Harbor, when December the 7th came along, I'd been over to his house the previous night and visiting with him and his family, and I think I was interested in his sister at the time. And so nothing ever developed out of that. But anyway, while we were there, I knew on that Sunday morning, December the 7th, I had the duty anyhow. So I had my car out there ready to roll. And just before I left, Mildred, his wife, got a call from Hickam Field, where her sister is married to a GI out there, and she said, there's bombs going on, there's big explosions. So that was, but I didn't realize that we were being attacked. I just took off and headed for Fort Allen, and going down Kamehameha Highway. And as I came by, I do remember this, so when I came by where Hickam is, there was a Jap Zero that came in off my left. I was heading towards the base, and he came in off the left, off the ocean there, and he had his machine guns going, and he was cutting, and there was a row of palm trees, and I don't know, can you imagine this? I remember this day seeing palm fronds dropping down. He was clipping some of them off while he was shooting at the cars traveling on the road immediately below that. And a couple of cars I saw, they deployed to the ditch, but I guess I didn't know any better. I just kept going, and I went directly to this place that we were reviewing earlier, to the hospital, Navy Hospital. Got on the Navy 40-foot launch. Was always been transporting us back and forth. And then by this time, the war was well underway. The heavy torpedo attacked and highly successful, and we'll just let it go. And the high-level altitude bombers. Let me see. I'm gonna shut this thing
Call
off.
from Nationwide Coil.
So thanks, Merle. So you picked up the ferry there by the hospital. That's not the Mary Point ferry, or is that a?
No, this was not really a ferry. It was just simply a
barge.
a landing,
Oh.
a boat landing. Yeah. I don't know. The heavy transporting of people and cars and stuff like that took place a little bit further down the island. And so went right over to the place there. On the map we pointed out this morning where the dispensary is. That's where the boat landing was for Fort Allen. And we picked up some of these guys in the water that were just covered with oil and everything like that. They were, I won't say they were dead, but they were not in very good shape. And so I think we had 3 or 4 that we just happened to see, and we picked them up and took them over there. Then we, you know.
Is that your phone?
Did you want to
Your phone's beeping.
say again?
Your phone.
Oh. Oh, see, I don't hear. I know what you're talking about. Now I have it turn it off now. Okay, good.
Okay, so you picked these guys up.
Yeah,
They were in
that's
the
right.
water.
And
Okay.
so,
Do you know what ship they were from?
no.
Thank you.
No, I have no idea what ship. There was a bunch of ships that were in severe trouble at that moment. So they could have been off of any ship, yeah. So I went down to the left, went down to my hangar. I think we pointed out this morning it would have been hangar 38, where we had a ramp going down where we launched the PBYs, put wheels on them there on an apron, and then guide them down in the water, and then they would take off. We'd drop the landing gear, not landing gear, the transporting gear, I guess you'd call it in those days, because it wasn't landing gear. Yeah.
Yeah, keep talking about that. Talk about the PBYs, and then we'll come back to Pearl. But maybe talk, if you could, just about your job there at Pearl.
Okay.
Thank you, Merle.
I got into the ordnance gang there, naturally, and the first thing, the Chief Johnson, he was the chief aviation ordnanceman, and we had received the Norden bomb site by that time, and that in those days we had it we kept them when we moved them to and from the airplanes. The bomb site itself was transportable. The thing it sat on, the stabilizer, would stayed in the airplane at all times. But we'd take it in and out of the vault, and we'd have a 45 on our sides and everything like that to protect ourselves. And so that's what I was doing. And I was kind of getting checked out on that. I felt very honored to have a chance to do something like that. And occasionally we would go up and make kind of a run, not a simulated run, but and look things over. And the idea was with a bomb site, you'd up flying. First of all, you don't fly very high. These things you have to be have visible line of sight to what your target is, and as you approach it, the telescope sets up a rate of decline, and it solves a little mathematical problem about when the proper time is to drop. Theoretically, it's figured out windage and everything like that. And so that was just kind of high tech for us little farm boy, I loved it. And I was so lucky to get into that gang. And then